All right, so welcome to This Week Inside of the New York Knicks, episode 6, I believe, yes. And this will be season 2, the preseason. And we're going to be covering the week from October 7th to the 13th. So you're in the right place if you want to find out everything that happens with the Knicks in 50. Give me 50 minutes, I'll give you the Knicks, right? And some of the flagship topics we're going to be talking about today is one, is the Knicks a top 3 team in the East? And two, the ESPN Top 100 rankings. Now, of course, I don't agree with the rankings, but we're going to look into it to see exactly how we feel. So, for those, if this is your first time listening, this podcast is dedicated to covering the Knicks 365, giving people the opportunity who are busy. You got a job, you got work, you can't watch all the games, can't keep up with all the news. Give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks. So you can listen to this on the subway, on your way to your job, or whatever you do. If you got time to just put music or a podcast in your ear, this is the place to be. Now, my co-host search continues. Salute to Dan Becker. He featured last week. I'm looking to feature some different voices on the podcast until I see who will be the a permanent host. Thanks, shoot, salute to Dan. I had somebody else in mind, and Dan filled in at the last minute. He's a good guy. Be sure to check him out on social media. He has an amazing personality. And then so if you are interested in being a co-host, there are some criterias. The first is you have to have a mic, you have to have a setup, and I would prefer someone that is experienced in commentating. But the last and but not least, and honestly the most important characteristic is you have to bleed orange and blue. No pun intended. Visit the shop.theobjectiveknicksfans.com. But you gotta literally bleed orange and blue to be a part of this podcast. And if that sounds like you and you're something you'd be interested in, definitely hit me up. You can send me an email at info@theobjectiveknicksfan.com. Another thing too, so there's a lot of topics that go down each and every week. So whatever we don't cover on this podcast, I'm still developing the website. But all the notes on this podcast will be at the website listed below, www.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. You can go there and get all the notes from the pod and even look at season 1, the preseason, to see if there's any news that you might have missed out on. Definitely go check that out and go listen to the old episodes, man. We talk this Nick stuff, and we bleed orange and blue, and there may be some things that I cover that you don't know. Before we get to our feature topics, there are a couple of topics I want to touch on between the time frame of this podcast. We actually had a preseason game. I can't believe it's October. Man, we started this podcast in September last month, and just covering the entire preseason. And it felt like the season was like an eternity away, because like I'm someone that I love the Knicks. I watch the Knicks 365. I'm just a Knicks fan through and through. So, but it's amazing that it's here. So we actually had a game. So we actually had a game against the Celtics. Now, this game, I ain't gonna lie to you, especially after watching the OKC and the Spurs preseason game when Wimby and Chet had their first meetup. Let me tell you something. That game was exciting. This game, however, was one of the most sloppiest preseason game I ever seen in my life. And part of the reason for that was yes, Boston's entire starting five did not play, and the Knicks' big three played, very little minutes, as you can see here. I mean, Randle had 13, RJ had 16, and Brunson had 6. So typically, when I watch these games, I try to take note of certain things. Now, one of the things I don't care about is the score of the game and points and all the traditional stats that matter normally during the regular season, right? I'm going to touch on other aspects of this game that I noted going into the season. Some things we should be concerned about, some things that were interesting, some things that just happened that maybe you guys didn't take note of. One of the things I noted was that Jalen Brunson in his 6 minutes, he was amazing. Let me tell you something. The game was too easy for him, and I know Coach Tibbs saw that. That's why he only played 6 minutes. I'm pretty sure he wanted Brunson to play a little longer. But Brunson 4 or 5 from the field, with +7, plus minus, had a nice lob that he threw up to Mitch. Was just looking like an extension of last season, and the workout that he got from the World Cup team seems to be there with him. I think that he looked solid, and I didn't for that game, especially when you don't have none of the Celtic starters out there. You didn't need Brunson out there. This game was honestly a showcase for the other rotational players and the guys that are trying to make the team. So, but Jay, I love the way Brunson looked in that 6 minutes. He just looked like he's in game, top. He's at the top of his game and he's ready for the preseason. As far as RJ's shooting wasn't the best. You know, he missed like four threes. And one of the things about RJ that actually liked about him in this game, when the shot wasn't falling, because not all of those shots were bad shots. What he did was he took it to the basket and went to the line 9 times and made 9 free throws. If RJ can put an emphasis on driving the ball, especially when the shot is not falling, I think we'll be all right. I think he'll be all right. I think that can easily boost him to a 22 point per game score. And I think that to me was key about RJ in this game. I don't care about the mission. I don't care about the points. I don't care about none of that. We just looking at the other things that people may not pay attention to. Now, Mitch, oh my God. Mitch looked incredible. Now, once again, this is against the Celtics backup. I'm curious to see how he'll start the season against the Celtics starters on the 25th. But I like the way Mitch played in this game. He actually looked more like that, like I said, the center from the Liberty. And we're gonna get to the Liberty. We're gonna cover, we're gonna get to the Liberty, okay? But like that center from the Liberty, John Quell Jones, that I said that he should play like, he was looking more like her than he, looks like when he gets timid, especially when he goes up against the quality opposition of like an Embiid or Jokic. But I like the way he played. Julius Randle, let me tell you something, guys. His ankle looks like it's 100%. He started out in the first very passive. It's preseason. What are we going crazy for? It's preseason. So I liked how he started out in the first quarter, letting the other guys, let RJ. RJ was kind of like the guy taking the most shots. Then IQ came in the game. He was jacking up shots. I like that from Randall. I'm just gonna sit here, get a couple of rebounds, let you guys do what you gotta do. And then the second quarter came, and Randall was definitely had a quiet 11 points or 3 or 4 shooting. And then he was 4 for 4 from the line. Like RJ, taking it to the basket. You know, we don't always have to settle for the three ball, even though he was knocking down the three ball. He knocked down. He knocked down one three ball. He only took two. You don't always have to force the three. Let's try to get to the basket, and that's what I noticed from the Knicks that game was they were trying to attack the paint, putting an emphasis on getting to the paint, and then that will spread the floor open to get the shooters hot because now the Celtics are looking to box in the paint. They was having 5 guys in the paint, the Celtics last night, because the Knicks was just driving the ball, especially in the first half. That was once they took RJ out the game and quickly just, he just started going off. Um, Speaking of quickly, because I mentioned him twice, he was the most, I guess, most impressive player on the night. I mean, like I said, I don't really care about stats in a preseason game, but he did have 21 on 8 of 14 shooting. Now he started out pretty cold. I think he was three of 8 from at halftime, and but he looked like he was in game form. He had 3 steals, which is pretty solid. But like I said, it's against the Celtics bench warmers. But one of the things I say about IQ, I do like that his shooting is solid going into the season because he's our 6 man of the year candidate, and we're gonna need that from him. But it's just a lot of dribbling. It's a lot of dribbling, and I think that especially if he's playing the point guard because they had him running the show and Dante was playing off the ball. Maybe mix and match with Dante running the show to try to get some guys involved and make, IQ more of a two. But hey, it's just preseason, one game. He did look good. Grimes, Grimes, it's preseason. I don't care about the shooting, 2 for 6, 6 points. I don't care about none of that. But yeah, if you want to look at a positive, he was plus 14 and he had 4 assists. Um, Grimes was a little passive, And I'm not sure if I talked about it on last week's podcast, the media day, but Grimes had a little news clip where he was talking to the press and he was saying how he was going to be more aggressive. I didn't see that in this game. In the first half with the starters, there was a play where Randle was being double teamed and being trapped, and he was like looking for Grimes to cut. RJ was wide open for three, but he was looking for Grimes to cut because RJ wasn't knocking down the ball, but Grimes wouldn't move. So then Randle wound up drawing the foul. But Grimes needs to cut more, and he does cut a lot, but he needs to cut more, recognize the offense, especially if there's a breakdown, and then try to get his shot. It's the mindset that I'm looking at. Hopefully tonight he plays with a better mindset, more aggressive mindset that I think he's capable of playing with. Jericho Sims, he spent a lot of time at the four. Yo, one thing I like about Jericho Sims, he's a good athlete. And I talked about this in that RJ Barrett video, where I was saying how RJ Barrett has a new role coming off the bench. Of course, RJ's a starter, but he will be spending time at the four. But to be honest, if that small ball doesn't work, Jericho Sims is going to be a solid pick there. I mean, he can defend. I mean, he showed that he. I'm not saying that he can guard Kevin Durant and guys like that on the perimeter, but he showed that he has decent footwork. He's an athlete. He has good speed for a center. He's not slow. And I think that, but he also has somebody give him a blow by dunk. Can't remember who that was. The last player we'll talk about is Fournier. He started out rough, a little timid. I like that wasn't like being a chuck like how Fournier could normally do. He get the ball, though he's a ball stopper. But in the second half, he played 21 minutes. He hit three threes, and he even got a shot in the paint, I believe, or a layup. And he looked it all right. Will that mean he'll crack the rotation? We'll get into what fans think about that. I don't think so. And yeah, Donte was rusty. But he started 0 for 5, but then he had some key buckets down the stretch. But it's preseason. That's all for this game. I look forward to the Timberwolves. We got the Timberwolves on Saturday night tonight. I record this on Saturdays, so we got the Timberwolves tonight. Hopefully, we get to see a little bit more of the big three. I'm not sure if Edwards will be playing. Hart is a game time decision, and Jaden McDaniels is a game time decision. So Anthony Edwards is healthy enough to play, but that doesn't mean he's going to play. A lot of the Liberty. Oh boy. They got smacked in game one. I didn't even watch game one. And I was like under the impression of, okay, Breonna Stewart had 21, 8, and 19 shooting. And Jonquel Jones is amazing. This girl's averaging, I think she had a double-double every game of the playoffs. This girl she's outstanding. But they got killed by this. They had four shooters with 20. I mean, their big four with big three. Well, four technically. Asia Wilson she was an MVP candidate. And they only play 6 players. Like, I don't know how you lose to a team that plays 6 players. And then you go to the last game. This is a game I did watch. This game to me was the most embarrassing game in NBA Finals I've seen in a while. Well, this is WNBA Finals. I don't watch too much WNBA final. I mean, I'm an old school WNBA going back to like 96 and early 2000s and stuff like that. Like Becky Hammond, who's the coach of the Las Vegas Aces. I remember when she was drafted to the New York Liberty when she was like the young phenom and they was saying how she was going to be. That's how old I am. I remember that. But as far as this game, I mean, once again, like the big three, they had, over 20, and then Greg had 14, and they only played 6 players. You know, the one thing I noted in I believe it was the second quarter when the Liberty made a comeback and they cut it to 8. They actually cut it to 6, but it was 8 at halftime. And the Liberty, it looked like Las Vegas was tired, and the Liberty took advantage of that. But, Jonquel Jones, once again, 22 and 10. She was amazing. She was unstoppable in the second quarter. I think she had like 14 and like 7 in the second quarter. And then Breonna Stewart, she started strong, but then she just faded. Laney was off. Laney was the shooter that killed Connecticut. this podcast comes out on Monday, so game 3 is on Sunday. Liberty might be done. I mean, hopefully not. They can win that game 3. They could hopefully shift the series because I noted in the second quarter of that game that, hey, they only play they only play 6 players. There's no way you lose to a team that only plays 6 players. They Liberty got to do something. These girls were on fire. Their offense is amazing, and they run a zone defense. I think the Liberty got to shoot the world out of that zone and feature John Carell Jones in the paint, utilizing her as like a point center where she can initiate the offense. I think that's what they need to do, man. But salute to the Knicks legend Earl Monroe. Once the Knick, always the Knicks segments. We always deal with the news featuring Knicks that were former Knicks and especially legends like Earl of Pearl. So this was a good week for Earl of Pearl Monroe. Each day he received increasingly positive updates from China, where the basketball team for the Earl Monroe New Renaissance Basketball School was competing in an international tournament. Wow. It's a remarkable thing for a number of reasons, not the least of which the school is located on Parkview Avenue in the Bronx. It's starting just its third year of existence as a charter school. So wow, they're already competing in international tournaments and they're in their third year. So salute to Earl Monroe, man. Big up to him. He's living the dream and being that pillar in the community. Once a Nick, always a Nick. And the school's in New York, so we definitely got to show love to that. So let's jump into a flagship topic. This will be the first one we'll jump into. We're going to talk about the 2023 rankings, and let's scroll down to our guys. So they got Julius Randle number 45 on the list. I did a poll on Worther Street. We'll get to that. What Knick fans thought about that. He was ranked number 71 last year. I didn't agree with that last year too. I mean, they say he had a bad season, 20-10. We spoke about this before. I mean, that's a bad season for Julius Randle, but I know a lot of guys, if they average 20-10, they would probably be considered an all-star or amazing. But yeah, because they rose him 26 ranks. So they already rated him low. So the argument is we rose him 26 spots. That's a big swing. I mean, that's a big, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I don't agree with that. Then we scroll down to Brunson. Brunson was the number 1 highest ranked Knick on these lists. Now, I don't agree with this list at all. I think that they just got a lot of stuff wrong. Like how does the guy and I love Giannis, but how is he number 1 over the MVP and the guy that was the Finals MVP? Hey, because it's just a year-to-year thing. So this is ranking coming into the season. I don't know how you get over those guys when your team lost in 5 games in the first round. I don't know what standard they're using this, but another thing, see, look at Brunson. Brunson, he was at the 67th spot, and they rose him 35 spots, right? This is a fair ranking, but to be honest, I would put him higher, but definitely I would put Randall higher. Now, the cool thing about these lists is that, and this is Tommy Bear, salute to him on Twitter. He said that the Knicks are is one of the only 2 teams, them and the Warriors, to have more than 5 players on the top 100. So that's impressive, man. And our rankings is Mitch is 98. Salute to Mitch. 92 is Immanuel Quickley. I don't know how Quickley's number 92 when he was second in voting for 6th man of the year last year. Whatever. Josh Hart 91, and they got RJ Barrett at 71. I don't know. I mean, I did a video on this channel, RJ Barrett, why he's underrated. Go check that out. It was another list that had RJ Barrett ranked number 100 on it. I know for sure he's not 100, the 100 best player. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments box. I feel like Randall needs to be rated higher. And it quickly definitely needs to be rated higher. The other guys, they have a chance to show this season where they're gonna, where they should be. But I'd say Quickly and Randall are the 2 guys I really have a problem with their rankings. One, Julius Randle is an all NBA, 3rd teamer, all-star. That puts him in the top 15 players in the league. How do you go from the top 15 players ranking last year to 46. And they got guys on this list. I mean, Mikal Bridges. I mean, this guy, he didn't make no all-star teams. You know, I mean, all right, Kyrie. Some people think Kyrie should be rated higher. I think that Kyrie, his team didn't make the playoffs. It's hard to argue that. Ja with the suspensions. But Ja individually is a top 20 player, man. I mean, skill set. But, like I could say with him and RJ, I did a video comparing him and RJ. I said that off the court, that's gonna hurt you. But okay, if you want to rate Ja over Randle, I take that. Darius Garland was an all-star. His team, they had a better record. I might let that slide. Bradley Beal, Bradley Beal's an all-star every year, consistently. No, Zach LaVine, I'm not putting him over Randle. DeMar DeRozan, no, I'm not putting him over. I'm sorry. I can't put guys that didn't make the playoffs over Randle. I just can't do it. Evan Mobley, no, the guy he beat. The guy he beat. He beat this guy. You know, Clay, no. Sorry, Clay's no longer an All-NBA All-Star. He once was, and we respect him as an OG, but you can't put him, and when I say OG, not to me, I'm older than him. I'm saying like, he's one of the older All-Stars that's still playing the league. But come on, bro. No, knock it off. Knock it off. Knock it off. Tyrese Maxey, but this kid never made an All-Star team. I mean, what? He's not gonna make an All-Star team this year. And I think the kid's talented. But how you gonna put him over an All-NBA All-Star? This guy didn't make the All-Star team. How you gonna put him? He fell 32 spots. Okay, he did fall 32 spots. But you see, I think the ranking system, I think they shouldn't really care about last year's ranking. I think they should allow you to just every year just start over, blank canvas. Because it's like if you're number 11 and you had a year where you didn't make the All-Star team and this wasn't one of your better years. And they drop you 32 points, you're still 43rd in the league. And then there's guys behind you. CJ McCollum, are you serious? This guy hasn't made an All-Star team. Was he ever an All? Yeah, he did. No, he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't even. Okay, McCollum has averaged 20 points per game or more in 8 consecutive seasons, yet hasn't been named to an All-Star team. How do you put him over Julius Randle, who wasn't just an All-Star, he was an All-NBA teamer? Like what? Yo, ESPN ranking system is crazy. I'm pretty sure if I go down, I'll find more guys. I mean, look, yeah. All right, he was defensive player of the year. Okay, okay, okay. I love a young Paolo. I love young Paolo. I'm a Duke fan. But no, you can't put him over Julius Randle. No, no. Trey Young, no. I don't think he made the All-Stars last year. Get him out of here. No. His team ain't make the playoffs. Get him out of here. Stop it. All right, Laurie Marketing. But Utah didn't make the playoffs. He was an All-Star, though. And he started, but he was a fill-in starter. He wasn't an All-Star, though. Ingram wasn't an All-Star. Man, a lot of these guys, Pascal, I like Pascal. Kawhi didn't even play. All right, I'm done. Yo, we found like 10 guys that shouldn't be ahead of Randle. All right, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, I'm not even gonna go from 71 to 50 because I'm sorry, not 71 to 50, from 100 to 51 because it's like that's gonna make us even more mad. Because Quickly, I'm pretty sure I can. All right, let's have fun with Quickly. Let's have fun with Quickly. So Mitch is number 100. Colin Sexton, okay. He was never an All-Star. Grant Williams, okay. Harrison Barnes, okay. I like this kid. This kid Jalen Williams is nice. I like him. He was guarding Wimby. Yeah. He was guarding Wimby. This is a controversial pick, Russell Westbrook. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. Mike Conley is not a top 100 player no more. I'm sorry. Sorry. So maybe that's one guy we can move Mitch down. You know what I'm saying? But Immanuel Quickley. Let's look at who's in front of Immanuel Quickley. Josh Hart, that's our buddy. We're not gonna go there. John Collins, what? Rob Williams is all right. Kevin Looney, what? Ahead of Quickley? Buddy Hill. All right, Kuz is tough. I like Anthony Simons. Clint Capella, no, man. No. Tobias Harris, Cam Johnson, no. Bobby Portis, I could have sworn he finished behind him in the votes, but all right, you want to keep Bobby Portis there. Jalen Green's a young phenom. Tyler Hero's a starter. Scoot, he didn't even play a game yet, but Scoot, I think is going to be Rookie of the Year. Jordan Clarkson, okay, he started, and I think he was a six man before. Yeah, it says 2021 six man. And Chris Paul's a legend. Vujicic is a starter. Cade, yeah, he's a starter. Chet didn't really play a game yet, but I saw that Wemby versus Chet, boy. Ooh, they had 39 at halftime, and I think they played 16 minutes, and Chet had like 21 at halftime. He had like 21 and 9 at halftime against like the what would be the starting Spurs. Like they basically played their start. I mean, OKC didn't have SGA, but that was like a real game. That was a real game. Jordan Poole, okay, all right. RJ, okay. Um, I like this kid. I like this kid. If we didn't have Mitch, I'd be saying trade for this kid. Brooke Lopez, okay. Porter, all right. I mean, there's some guys I would put quickly ahead of on this list. At least 5, 6, 7 for sure, guys. I like Miles Turner, even though he hasn't done much. I like Miles Turner. I like Morris Turner better than Gobert, but that's a whole nother topic. So yeah, you know, I feel like Quickly should at least be like near RJ or like in the 70s at least. But it is what it is. We got the most. We got 6 players on the top 100, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second why that's kind of important. But before we get there, let's get to this word of the street, man. All right, so we got. Can you believe the 2023-24 NBA season is upon us? The Knicks have a preseason opener tonight against the Celtics. This was on Monday. I know it's preseason, but what are you excited about for tonight's game? And 42% of Knicks fans said it's just a long layoff. We happy to have Knicks basketball. I feel the same way. That's what I voted, you know. Sometimes I voted, but I do vote in the post so I could see the results. But without having to go through the back office. A lot of people don't care till the season starts, which I don't care about stats until the season starts. But watching the young players shine, and there was somebody that was coming for me on here, but they said, "Young guy shine low. You must not know Tibbs, right?" So look at what I said. Well, I think Tibbs will give the young guys on Exhibit 10 contracts and two-way contracts an opportunity this year. Last year, it was a lot of new elements into the fold, and they needed time to gel. This year will be different, I think. And so I need to respond again to this guy. I didn't respond to this comment. I get a lot of comments now. It's hard to respond to everything. But this guy was coming for me and Tibbs. I'm gonna reply to this guy. So if you're watching this at this point, go to this comment. You're gonna see me get at this guy because he definitely played the young guys that night. All right. All right. So let's go back. All right. So we got Evan Fournier had a solid shooting game in the preseason. Yeah, he had a solid, towards the end of the game. Will that be able to convince Coach Tibbs to add him to the rotation? 245 Knicks fans voted, and 65% of them said no. I agree. I voted no too. He's not going to be back. this is like an audition for a trade. Let's see what some of these people say. They'll be dumb if they keep Fournier from playing. He got a 3-pointer. Let's see. I'll respond to that. So who will sit so he can play? And then this guy said, I don't know what that is. Looks like I don't know what that is, but anyway. Yeah, I guess he's co-signing my question. I mean, if you're going to play Fournier, who's going to sit? Is it Donte DiVincenzo, the guy they just gave $46 million to, going to sit? Is Immanuel Quickley, the guy who's about to get a 80-something million-dollar contract? I don't have the inside scoop on that. So, but who's going to get that? Who's going to sit so he can play? I just want to know. Is it going to be Grimes, the guy who's the starter? Is it going to be Josh Hart, the guy who just got $80 million and he got a 12.5 play extension before that, his 1 year option? So we just talked about the rankings, and Julius Randle, he's ranked number 46 on the top 100 list. Did they get it right? And 54% of the people disagree. Now, this could be higher or lower. 37% of the haters said yes. I shouldn't say haters, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these people kind of like Randall, kind of don't like him. Half of these people don't like Randall. And then I love the I don't know option. This is how you know it's my poll, because I always add the I don't know option. So let's see what the word on the streets is. He's a 2-time All-NBA player over the last 3 years. He should be in the top 25. I agree. Last time, there was maybe 30, 40, 35 guy take. So maybe I would easily put him in the top 30. Agree. I agree with that. Definitely top 30 for sure. Top 20, 25. That to me also makes sense. I mean, he finished in the top 15. When you get voted into All NBA, that means for that year you was top 15. There's no getting around that. At least top 30, bro. No cap. Facts. Top 100. See, this is what I'm saying. Some of the visits hate. Yeah, he's ranked 46. He should be ranked around 10 to 20. Whoa, that's a bold one. 10 to 20 is interesting. But to be objective, I don't know. But definitely 20 to 30 for sure. 20 to 30 for sure. Because just because you didn't make All NBA team last year doesn't mean that you're not a great player. Because you might have made it the year before that. But I do think that if you make All NBA team within, the past 2 years, that should count. Now if y'all got to go back 4 or 5 years, then that means you kind of slipping. Kind of slipping. Yeah, I would give him that. I think it's a fair assessment of his talents. Okay, someone agrees. 25. Okay, so a lot of the people that said no, that commented said that, who knows? I mean, Randall and RJ are the two most polarizing players on this team. Episode 5, this was the season finale. Okay, cool. Yeah, go to my community section. Every day I post something there. Today I posted this. We got the matchup tonight. Just posted this. But Jalen Brunson, he's focused on winning a championship, and he stores away all his awards. He puts it all his awards. He doesn't look at it. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't want to look at the college championships. None of that, right? So, do you believe Jalen Brunson could lead the Knicks to a chip as a first option? Right, that's the key. Not just lead them to the chip, but as the first option. And let me tell you something. I've been doing these polls since I started the channel. And Jalen Brunson is the number one positive belief guy. Like, Knicks fans believe in Jalen Rose. 81% of the 237 people believe that, yes, he can lead us to the chip. 12 say no. And 7 say, I don't know. That's where I voted. I don't know. I think that he can be the integral part, but I don't know. So that's all for Word on the Street. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel so you could be a part of the polls and express yourself and things of that nature. So let's touch into a little bit of Evan Fournier. If he plans on contributing in 2023-24, I can effing play. To be honest, I may be dreaming, but to me, I can help the team. I'm a good player. I can effing play. I can bring stuff to this team. I can bring stuff that this team doesn't have to. I have to hope to play. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're on the team, I mean, you got to. And then this tip said, my goal is to put this is what Fournier said. My goal is to put Thibodeau in a position where he has to think about playing me. That's a fact. I'm going to treat every practice and every opportunity I have like it's like the last, and we'll have to take it from there. That's honestly how I will attack it. I mean, I think that's what he probably should have said in France when they were interviewing him, and he said that, "Oh yeah, all these bad things and how they don't play him and they don't like him and da 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 da, all these negative things." He should have said this, and he would have been better suited. Because what you guys gotta understand, and we spoke about this before, Fournier, that contract, they're holding that contract because they would love to add his salary to a big deal to help balance out the deal. So that's why that 18 million is kind of viable to the Knicks. And the Knicks are not over the limit. And I think they might even have a exception with Obi. I'm not 100 with that. I think they do. But Knicks fans are not confident that he'll get there. I'm definitely not confident. I think that he kind of shot himself in the foot when he talked about the Knicks. The Knicks have a very strict PR policy, so you can't really speak against the team when you're a part of the organization. And him doing that, I think, kind of shot him in the foot. So I don't think he definitely has no opportunity. DiVincenzo salvages his Knick preseason after the bumpy start. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, Dante was rusty, but here's what he said about that. I wouldn't say it was jitters. Like I said, I'm just getting comfortable. DiVincenzo said, I think you're just learning a new system, learning 42 new guys, a new coach, and a new environment, just getting acclimated, getting comfortable. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I mean, it's preseason. Like the preseason is not the end of your career. You don't yeah, you can make a team, but I mean, will you stay on the team after you make the team? That's going to be determined by the regular season. So we got to see what Dante DiVincenzo brings in the regular season. So let's move forward. R.I.P. Brendan Malone, former Knick assistant. He actually was an assistant with the Knicks with Tom Thibodeau in the '90s on the Knicks, and he passed away. He's also the father to the Nuggets head coach, the Michael Malone, who led the Nuggets to the World Championship. Salute to him. He died on October 10th. I just want to say my condolences. This is another once a Knick, always a Knick, and may his family find some sort of comfort in this time and their loss. And he definitely will be missed. And Coach Tom Thibodeau also said that he was a New York City legend and a great man. Thibodeau, like I said, was on the staff with him. So R.I.P. Brendan Malone, man. If you want to read a little about his backstory, like I said, I got this link will be in the notes section. Um, he was a former basketball coach, and he was born in 1935. He grew up in New York City. He's a New York guy, Astoria, Queens. Graduated from Rice High School. It don't get no more New York than that, right? And so salute to Brendan Malone, man. R.I.P. My condolences to the family. Okay, let's move on. So Jericho Sims, the one guy Tom Thibodeau loves in camp. I got some quotes here, but Jericho is a Coach Tibbs guy. Coach Tibbs loves hard nosed, strong guys. You know, good athlete, can play defense, rebound. 24 years old. Coach Tibbs says you need three centers. So he's definitely going to be one of those guys, but he's also going to get time at the four spot. I mean, if you're not needed at the five spot, you know, definitely you're gonna need a guy like this to fill in where you can fit him. He likes Sims at the four. He likes him with Hartenstein. That's what this article is talking about. He says Hartenstein and Jericho, they play very effectively together, and oftentimes I'll go more by how they're being defended. Who do they have their four on, and who do they have their five on? Now, for Coach Tip said something that was really interesting. He said that positions matter in the NBA more on defense than it does on offense. And I never looked at it like that. I thought that was an interesting outlook because he's right. You only worry about who you're guarding. So, like, who's guarding Steph, right? You're not really concerned about um on offense, like where a guy actually is gonna be. So it's not like the old school days where the center is like in the middle of the paint, right? To the side of the paint, then in the middle of the paint, coming up at the free throw line setting screens. Now these guys are setting screens by the damn logo. So those days are pretty much over. The positioning matters more on the defensive end because now you need to know who's going to guard the paint threat. If there is a paint threat, there's hardly paint threats out there. Even the paint threats are not paint threats all the time. So, but like I thought that was an interesting outlook. And then Hartenstein played a lot of four growing up, but Hartenstein said that get this, and I was going to do a video on this. Um, he would love to play with Mitch, and he didn't. You know, he didn't really spend much time playing with Mitch. I don't think he ever played with Mitch. But he said Hartenstein is willing to play the four. Could you imagine that? Hartenstein at the four with Mitch. Hartenstein could stretch the floor. He's a really good passer. You could put him at the top of the key, or you could put him at the top of the free throw line. You could put him anywhere. He's functional anywhere on the floor. And Mitch can have, he can have the paint. Mitch could be the roaming lob guy in the paint. Hartenstein, he can play on the perimeter with his passing and his shooting. I thought that would be interesting. Maybe that might be our insurance policy for Randle. So if Randle, God forbid, he gets hurt, and he rarely does, he's a 70 game player plus player. But imagine if he gets hurt, you got Sims can come off the bench, and then you got the small ball with RJ and Hart playing the four, and then you put Hartenstein at the four with Mitch, and Sims will back both of them up or back up, Mitch. I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think that that's something that the Knicks are going to really consider in the season if they have to. I don't see it that them playing it all the time, but I just wanted to see it like tonight against the T-Wolves or in one of these games just to see how it looks. Then he said Josh Hart, Coach Tibbs said Josh Hart has no positions. You can play him anywhere on the floor. I agree with that. I think Josh Hart can literally, as long as it's not a really big five, Josh Hart can play anywhere on the floor, you know. And in RJ, once again, he said he's willing to do whatever the Knicks need in terms of him playing the four. And he's just dialed in. All these guys are dialed in, man. I think that this is one of the most dialed in, locked in Knicks team I've seen in a while. Where it's like there's no cap. Like last episode, I said was media day cap or facts. I said it was facts. There is no cap with this Knicks team. Like they genuinely are locked in and dialed in, and they really got good chemistry. So Tom Thibodeau cites Michael Jordan's '90s Knicks for views on load management. Now the '90s was a whole different era. If your leg was broken, that would be the only way you missed games. So for Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau, who's never been quite bought into load management, this may feel like vindication, but instead of taking a victory lap, Thibodeau reiterated his feelings on the matter. My thing is just being around good teams and watching what they did to prepare. One one time I had a conversation with Michael Jordan at length. The things that he did to prepare for a season, he had the belief that, and the whole organization did about the way you should work. The same thing in Boston. In '08, we won the championship. Those guys were phenomenal. They didn't miss practice. Great practice team. The night, Tibbs was with the, yeah, wow. Same thing in Boston. We won the championship. Those guys were, yeah, Tibbs was there. Great practice team, the '90s Knicks. To the Tom Thibodeau bashers, right? Because people think I'm a Dolan apologist and a Tom Thibodeau apologist. I don't know why. I'm not. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm not even a Knicks apologist because if the Knicks is trash, I'm gonna tell you they're trash. I don't even like to use the trash word. I say mediocre. But at the same time, he was a part of championship organizations, winning organizations, team winning basketball. So that's why this whole player management, load management to me is crap. I remember one time when Melo was toward his end of days with the Knicks, and I bought Knicks tickets to see him play against the Nets. And I had this worst fear that Melo not playing in the game, so I wouldn't see him in his last Knicks game. I was what? But he played. But I was like, yo, the load management, man, is something that I think that it causes more harm than it does good because if you're ready to go, you should play. Playing the game makes you a better player. Now, maybe you won't play 40 minutes a night. I do think that players play a lot of minutes just to get stats up, right? But at the same time, maybe we should cut down the minutes they play versus the games they play. So this is the flagship topic. Will the Knicks finish third in the East? Or are they the third best team in the East? So first off, to give us a little bit of credibility, NBA general managers voted and they did election to see which teams were the best. And so right where the Knicks are back where they ended up a season ago, which was in fifth place. They also received 70% votes for third and 33% for fourth. So, I say three or four. It depends on how you feel about the Cavaliers. Do you think the Cavaliers are a better team than us? I think because we beat the Cavaliers, we should be at least ranked higher than them. That's just my logic. Philly has an interesting situation. I saw James Harden talk about, trust issues and it being like a relationship and, just not being able to trust and there's trouble in paradise. So it depends who they trade Harden for because the Clippers are the only team, not the Knicks. We debunked that on previous episodes. The Knicks do not want James Harden. They're only looking at that situation to see what happens with Embiid because everybody wants Embiid. He was the MVP, but you know the we got to see what happens with James Harden trade because it could go good or bad. You could trade James Harden and get another star possibly that can play alongside Embiid and make Embiid happy. Possible, I doubt it, but it's possible. Or you can trade James Harden for a bunch of backup guys and picks, and now Embiid is like, I'm not trying to be a part of a rebuild. I got to get out of here. Because even Embiid sounded like he didn't sound genuine at his media day when he said, "Yeah, we got a good team, we got the best team, we're gonna compete." That just seemed like press stuff. Because one of the things about the NBA, these guys are professional decorum. You don't want to upset the apple cart. You want to keep everything just peace, PC, and peace. So I just think that was just PC stuff. Sixers is definitely not ahead of the Knicks. I'm sorry, they're not. You got the Bucks and the Celtics, 1 and 2. It could go either way. I hope it's the Bucks at number one, and because I think we're gonna beat the Celtics, and yeah, we're gonna beat the Celtics in the second round if we get to that 2-3 spot. But I don't really care about what the other GMs think, but it's good to see. It's glad to see that the GMs do consider the Knicks a good team. Because if you're fifth in the East, that means you're amongst the better teams, and some think that they could even be fourth. So yeah, that's where I see the Knicks, and I feel like we have the best bench. Do I got that article up here? So there was an article. I don't got the article up here, but there's been a lot of polls and people voting and this, that, and the third. And a lot of these polls and votes, you see the Knicks between third best bench, first best bench, third best bench, first best, second best bench. The Knicks have the best bench in basketball. I'm sorry. Hate to break it to you. When you got Josh Hart, Immanuel Quickley, Donte DiVincenzo, Isaiah Hartenstein, you got a guy like Evan Fournier who makes $18 million, not even a part of rotation. You got young guys like Sims and Deuce McBride that can contribute that other teams wanted. And I'm getting ready to do a video on Deuce and Jericho talking about that. The Knicks have the best bench, most complete bench in basketball. That's why I did that RJ video. Like, y'all worried about the backup power forward position. That's the weakest position in basketball. The bottom line is the Knicks have a very talented team and they're going to compete and they're going to be okay. So, you know, that's just why I think the Knicks are the third best team. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with that? The Knicks, we're going to be a top three rebounding team. We're going to be a top 4, 5 defensive team. We also got good net offensive rating as well. And all these things can be repeatable. All we lost was Obi Toppin to you. Obi Toppin stands. You man stands. Yeah, I'm calling you out. Oh, we shouldn't have traded Obi. Obi averaged 6 point something points and 2.8 rebounds. Stop it. We're not missing nothing with that. Randle missed 5 games. And 3 of those games were meaningless games because we already had our position. And Obi was going up against guys that don't even make the team. Please. We're going to see what Obi does in Indiana. He didn't have an impressive preseason game. I don't really care about preseason stats. That's why I didn't talk about it. I'm waiting for the regular season to start, and then that's when we're going to see who's really about that life. When you go up against the starters and guys actually game planning against you because now you're a starter. So we're going to see exactly what happens there. But I think that the Knicks are going to be better than last year because of the experience factor. All these young boys been in the playoffs. They played in a playoff game. That's going to do wonders for their confidence. I think RJ can become more efficient, especially if he's driving to the basket. If he can average an efficient 20, 22, that's going to make us better. Jalen Brunson coming off and putting up all NBA numbers and making all-star teams, that's going to be good. And Randle does what he did last year, that'll be great. And Mitch steps up and plays more like that Donquell Jones girl for the Liberty, my favorite player on the Liberty, we'll be fine. I'm not concerned at all. I'm not concerned at all. And let's see if I got one more article. Yeah, Knicks will have another strong season. Da, 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 nah. So look, I got some more articles that I didn't read, didn't cover, that you can check out. Interesting stuff. Just go to theobjectiveknicksfan.com. Definitely check out shop at theobjectiveknicksfan.com. Get your eye bleed orange and blue hoodies. You got the beige hoodie is fire. Oh my God. Definitely subscribe to the channel so you can see more podcast updates. So this is season 2, the preseason, the warm-up, episode 1. Or well, no, we're keeping the episode numbers going. So this is technically episode 6, but it's season 2 and preseason. And that's all for this video. Until next time, let's go Knicks!